Baywatch beauties Tracy Bingham and Nancy Ballin.
Look at these little old short skirts.
I actually enjoy wearing clothing for a change.
Baywatch beauties.
Do they put makeup everywhere?
I
down
do.
back there, sir.
On Rolonda. One of the questions that we were talking about as we're moving into something called open adoption is it one person's right to have privacy in terms of giving a child up for adoption, but does that not deny that child's right to know more about themselves? I know that you wanted to make a comment on that, Deb.
I wanted to respond to Janet. She talked about abortion rates possibly going up, and this is something that the opposition to open records brings up time and time again. It's important to get the statistics straight. There are only 2 states in the nation that have open records. Most countries in the world have open records. We're one of the last countries. But those 2 states are Alaska and Kansas. And they actually have lower abortion rates than the national average. So Janet's point that abortions will go up
in fact,
is not true.
There's less out of wedlock births, for example, in the conservative state
and there are
like
other
Kansas.
countries as well as England and Wales where abortion rates are actually lower after records were open. So this is not...
You look at the worldwide figures, you look, for example, to England and to Australia, and you will see that when they opened the records up, the adoption rate went through
That's not true, actually. Adoption rates in Alaska and Kansas are actually higher than the national average. I've got the stats right here. I know the statistics.
One of the other things...
I can read them,
Janet, is that there are adoptive. I think too. We look at every member of the triad came out. Every group came out and testified against opening records, including adoptive parents. Adoptive parents who say, "I'm really not interested in 18 years of foster care. I would like, if my child would like to find his mother, if his mother would like in a mutual way find it,
that's the usual line that is used by rights to life.
Open records for adults.
Jane, what are you saying?
About children.
I believe that the Right to Life has used this over and over again when they're opposing records to be open. There is no evidence in this business about England. They opened their records in 1975. And the claim is that the adoption rate dropped by 50%. Of course it did, because they took the in-family adoptions out of their statistics and placed them in another section. So the adoption rate did drop by 50%. But we find that they come state to state, use that false information, and people are believing it, and it is not true. They don't come in with statistics. They don't come in with documented evidence. They use that word abortion, and that's a scare tactic.
If there's
it is not true.
If there's just
one at a time, please, Jane. And
if there's just one woman who wants that confidentiality, I think that one woman ought to be able to choose adoption and make it as positive as we can for her.
Let me bring in my next guest here because she might be able, through her personal experience, give us a better insight on something. She strongly believes in something that we're learning about here called open adoption. Stephanie Stats is from Indianapolis, and she chose to give her baby up for adoption. But she also got to choose the parents, and she got to meet them, and she got to become a part of her child's family. Now, I think that is an ideal situation, Stephanie. I really do. How were you able to work that out?
Well, first of all, I was adopted, and so I know nothing about my birth parents, and that's always been a really big void in my life, and I am searching. But when I found out that I was pregnant, I decided that I was going to put my child up for adoption, but I wanted to make sure that she didn't run into the same problems that I ran into when I was growing up. I wanted her to have a sense of security. I didn't want her to feel any of the void that I have felt. And so when I chose her birth parents, we made an agreement that it would be letters and pictures for the first 2 years. 9 months after I placed her, they decided that they would like to kind of get in contact with me and see how I was doing. We planned a meeting, and that was 9 months after she was born, and then that Christmas, I actually spent Christmas at their house because my parents were gone.
So you're like one big family now.
We are.
And has worked out, I mean, there's no jealousy between the mothers, there's no confusion with the children.
Well, I think that there's a little bit, like sometimes Vicki feels a little bit of maybe a little bit of jealousy, and there's jealousy on my part, especially now that I have a baby, and I am able to be a good mother. I'm jealous.
One of the biggest fears I think that women have who may be the adoptive mother is you're going to get so attached and get your life together, you're going to want to take my baby back.
Sure.
Let's talk about that when we come back. We'll be right back in a minute.